Hey everybody, it's Rick Trummer from Rick Trummer Consulting and Training, and welcome to another video in my never-ending series that just keeps getting better and better, hopefully. And we've got so much business stuff going to be coming up in the near future. But today I had a wonderful customer of mine actually reach out to me with a small problem, and I think it's a problem that everybody experiences. I would say at least every week, maybe every other week for sure. And I'm going to show you a fast way to be able to do it. So let's take a look at it. It's basically what it is an eye swap. And what we have here is we have this beautiful portrait of this young man. And as you can see, the eyes are slightly turned away. With that in mind, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be bringing eyes in from another image into this one. You can see there's a size difference with the image as well. So we've got a couple different problems here. One of the biggest things, or one of the biggest mistakes people make, is when they grab an eye or something from another image, what they do is they don't grab enough of the actual image itself. So what we want to do is we want to make sure that we're grabbing a lot more than what we actually need. So what we're going to do here is, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to warm this image up a little bit. So I'm just going to go into curves, and since we're just going to warm it up, I'm just going to go into my blue channel, and I'm just going to warm it up just a little bit to look a little bit more like the image that I have next to it. So I'm just warming it up just a little bit. So there we go. Now we're there. Just going to layer that down, and now we're kind of ready to make that move over to swap the eyes. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab the marquee tool over here on the far side of the image itself. So all you have to do is just go over right here, grab the marquee tool, and then I'm going to come over to the image of the eyes, and I'm going to grab a much bigger portion here. You can see that I'm grabbing kind of almost the whole kind of mid-face area. And what I'm going to do is just grab the move tool. You can do that by, again, doing M, just grabbing M off your keyboard, or just click on the tool. And I'm going to grab and move the eyes over to this image here. At this point, I can close down this image. I no longer need it for any reason, because I've got what I need. And now I have my set of eyes right here, but I haven't sized them properly. So how do you do that? Well, the best thing to do is to switch your blending option. And if you come over here from normal, what we're going to do is switch our blending option to difference. And what that's going to do is kind of give us a weird look, as you see here. But as you're looking at it, you're going, wow, this is something that is kind of crazy. What am I actually seeing here? Well, let's zoom into this area right here. And I'm just going to hand tool this down a little bit. And you can see I've got kind of an eye lined up a little bit, but not really. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a free transform. Now I'm going to do a Command T, and you'll notice that right away it puts in my pivot point right in the center here. So what I've done is I've kind of lined up one eye over here in the far corner. As you can see, by using difference, if it's all black, you know it's lined up perfectly. So I've kind of got it lined up into the area. And what I'm going to do is grab my pivot tool here, and I'm going to move it to the center of that eye. Now what happens is the image is actually pivoting around that particular point because that eye is close. So I'm going to bring my eye so it's close. Now you can see that we have a little bit of a size problem. So at this point, I'm going to hold down my shift key, and I'm going to grab a corner, and I'm just going to make the eye, or this layer, just a little bit larger, and then I'm going to move it down again. You can see I'm almost exactly on the point. Now I'm never going to be exactly on the point because the eyes are not going into the same direction, but I'm really, really close. So once you're close, and just kind of just make my final moves here. You want to try to get the better you do each of these stages, the better off you're going to be. Okay, we have it right there. So I'm just going to hit return, and now I'm going to change again my blending option from difference back to normal. So I'm going to go all the way back to normal here, and I'm going to zoom down. So you can see this is in the front. Next item, go ahead and click on your mask tool down here. Click on your add mask. And what this will do is add a mask onto your layer right here. Now, it's all showing at this point. I don't need it all to show. So I'm going to do a Command or Control I, depending if you're Mac or PC, which will basically take away or hide the actual selection that we have. At this point, all I need to do is go into my brush tool by clicking on the B. I want to make sure to have white in my foreground, so using the X key, we'll switch those back and forth. And I'm going to bring my opacity up to about 50-some%. And get my brush a little bit bigger. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring the eye in. Now I want to grab the whole socket, so I'm just wiping it in. And you're going to, because I didn't go all the way up once, you're going to have to build this in. But I'm just going to bring the eye in. And the same thing on this side. I'm just bringing the eye in. And again, I'll bring it in fully. So I've done an eye transformation here. And you can see we're still a little bit discolored. If you look up close, there's a slight color difference between the two. I'm a little dark. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a really easy, I'm going to add an adjustment layer. And again, I'm going to go back to curves. And I'm going to make sure that I'm going to put this into normal mode, but I'm going to use my previous layer to use as a clipping mask. So I'm going to click OK. So now it's only affecting that. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to bring the level of illumination up just a little bit, not too much, because I don't want to have eyes like this. So I want to try to just match that out a little bit. Next thing I'm going to do is go back to my blue area. And I'm just going to warm this down just a little. Very good. Kind of right there as far as color is concerned. So now I can go back. I'm going to go back to my mask. And I'm going to feather the selection off just a little bit. So I'm going to go back to my brush tool. And now I'm going back to black. And I'm just going to go down to about 8-9%. Make sure you got a nice big feathered brush. I like to use hardness 0. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to feather the selection right around the eyes so that it just kind of blends in to the eye area here. So I'm not seeing that line around there, and I'm just going to filter it back. Hopefully this video has helped you take a look at this kind of difficult subject matter. And as always, we're here at Rick Trummer Consulting and Training. And I'm hoping that you're really enjoying our video series that we have out there on YouTube. And we'll be back tomorrow with another video. So until then, I'm Rick Trummer from Rick Trummer Consulting and Training. And I'll see you on the tube.